Hello, welcome inside the crowded booth. Bryce Coon alongside Will Manis and Ralph Leary. We are back for another action-packed episode tonight. We're going to have a familiar face and we're going to have something we've never done before. So it's going to be a ton of fun. We're excited you're tuning in, and make sure to like, share, and do anything you want with this post. Share it, report it if you want to. If you don't like it, the content, then do that as well. Yeah, they may report us after some of our takes.
Don't tempt them. But guys, I'll give them something to report if they want to report something.
I want to get your feedback because, Will, we know how your weekend went, so we're not going to ask you. And Ralph, how did your weekend go? And you ventured onto the Little League fields, I heard.
Well, if you mean by that, I played a little bit more wiffle ball again this weekend. Mm-hmm. Also played some golf this weekend, like Will did today.
Yesterday,
yeah, exactly. My bad. Played a little golf this weekend with my dad and my uncle. Did not play as well as I was hoping to, but that's just how golf goes.
What'd you shoot?
I only played 9. It was. I don't know what I don't think I kept my scorecard after we left. I think
that's probably a good thing.
I think I just threw it in the trash can.
That's probably a good thing. Like if
I
we're
did have
completely
one
honest.
par on the front on 2 at Grand Island, and I was happy about it, and that's all I can say.
Did you? What was your best shot? I'll ask that. Like, what was the feeling when because you told me about it, and so I just want to make sure that the people know, because we need to let the people know. Because you told me you hit a shot, and you're like, "Wow, that was professional level."
I don't know about professional level now, but on 9, I hit a great drive, tee box shot, perfect. Hit a 5-iron, and rolled it on top of the hill. And as soon as it got to the top of the hill, it rolled back down right into the bunker. So, I felt like, wow, that was a great approach to hit a 5-iron that far and put it right on the green and just roll off into the sand bunker. So, I felt like I played better than I have, but we're getting there.
Well, I'll tell you this thing. Ralph and I went to the driving range the other day, and Ralph, the first shot I hit, and it was an interesting scene. Definitely at the driving range on Wednesday night, but very interesting scene. Will, I'll ask you, how'd you play yesterday? And do you feel like as the weather gets warmer, is the swing getting better?
I hope so. Gosh, I hope so. I start off really good. Start off bogey par. That's usually really good for me. You can almost pencil in a triple bogey on hole 1 for me just about every time I play. But no, start off good, and then that first triple bogey, everything just went downhill. I ended up shooting 106 on the Bull Creek West course. Hadn't played that in a while. It's the longer of the 2 courses at Bull Creek. Mm-hmm. When you're not very good like I am, you don't hit the ball very far, so it makes it more challenging. I had an adventure of a hole on 16. If you've ever played that hole, there's a big pond all the way down the right side. 4. Let me get 4 swings in a row. Ball went in the water. So that's how.
Did you count it? Did you count it?
I counted. Well, I counted them, but then I ended up picking up, and I can't remember what I wrote down. But
how many balls did you lose yesterday overall?
Let's see. It was those 4. I think I lost 8 balls, which is good for me.
That's just rough.
It's usually good for me.
I know how that feels, though.
It's a lot of woods. Bull Creek's a lot of woods.
Oh yeah,
a lot of woods, and it's thick woods along the fairways. You gotta keep it on the green grass.
You got to keep it on the green grass. That is what evades me. I like to keep it into the brush. More of a out of the trees kind of player myself. But hey, we're going to talk about some golf a little bit later on. We got a special guest waiting. We got a special guest waiting. To talk a little bit about that. He's a good friend of the show. But first, guys, let's go ahead and announce it. Tonight, for the first time ever, we're going to have a live taste test of some of the top wings we feel, and maybe we're completely wrong. If we are, let us know in the comments about what some of the best wings that you know in the Columbus area. We've got some local joints. We also have, a couple of places that are near and dear to our heart of we'll call it the national brand. So one that I sat on an Instagram live for a while and talked about one time, and no one seemed to care, but that's okay anyway. So the businesses know we're doing this. That is something. The businesses know we're doing this. So if they're watching, we appreciate all of your contributions to tonight's show. So let's start it off with the first wing. The first wing of the show. And
I don't even have mine ready to go.
That's okay, Will. Will's going to have to mute himself. So for everyone watching and listening, this is kind of what we're going to do. We have 5 different wings from different places. Okay, so there we go. 5 different wing places. And what we're going to do is we are going to taste test them. Now, it's going to be out of 5. For the first score, will be out of 5 with the actual wing. How does the wing taste? And then the sauce. Now, all of these are mild, correct? Ralph, we are right on that. They're all mild sauce. So
this is not what the people want to see.
It's
want to see hot wings, not
well, they're mild / medium.
Right now, we're not going to Buffalo Wild Wings and get into Carolina Reaper wings again, because I did that in Daytona and I about died. So I'm not
going to Buffalo Wild Wings. Period.
Well, let's just go ahead and get it out of the way. We're gonna go with Buffalo Wild Wings first. So pick up your Buffalo Wild Wing, and we're gonna do a live taste test here on the show. I'm gonna back my microphone up so you don't have to hear me slurping all around this delicious wing here. So let's go here first. Has this just become an ASMR show of us eating? That's what I need to understand.
Probably.
Probably.
Okay.
I hope Facebook is okay with this.
Me too.
This is a little not against the guidelines.
This is a little intimate into our lives here.
Definitely
going to get word on Facebook than this.
Oh God.
Well, I'm going to go to you first. The quality of the wing itself, the chicken. 1 out of 5. Where are you going?
I mean, it's chicken. So it's about what I expected. Give it a 2.
You're going 2 on the wing. Okay. Ralph, where are you going on the wing? Where are you going?
I'm going to get a 3 on the wing.
You're going 3 on the wing. We got the wing challenge right there. Big font because we're elementary school age kids who love the big font, all caps. I'm going to go a 2 on the wing. Just got a comment. What in the ever loving God am I watching right now? So we appreciate you watching.
Wants to see it. Chicken wings.
Wants to see the chicken wings. Okay. I got B-dubs at a 3. Will, what are you going to go with? What are you going to roll with on the sauce? This is just their mild sauce.
Stick with a 2.
So you went 2-2. That's a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10 on the wings for Will. So Russell, our intern over there watching, go ahead and book that. 4 out of 10 for Will Manis. Ralph, you gave me a 3. What are you going to go for out of 5 on the taste of the sauce?
I'm going with Will this one too. I don't think their mild sauce is very, very tasty to me, honestly. It's just kind of a bland sauce with no really flavor to it.
Yeah, it's not. It's just not what you're living up to the billing. I don't love it. I'm going to go with a 2 as well. That brings me to a 5. So we got 5 out of 10, 2 5s out of 10, and 1 4 out of 10. Let's roll over to a local joint. We're going to go with B. Merrill's here. Now, B. Merrill's is a local place located on Veterans Parkway, and they have some good wings. Palmer is in the waiting room like, what in the world is going on right now?
Why is it so dry?
This is a dry wing.
This is what they do.
It's a dry wing. All right, this is their mild. Let's get a bite real quick.
Oh. Man, a world of difference.
That's just a better wing.
A world of difference. I'm going 4 on the wing. That's a 4.
4 out of 5 on the wing. Ralph, where are you going with this?
I'm gonna go with 3 again on the wing.
Okay. I'm gonna go with a 3.
Man, that's so much better.
Will, where are you going sauce?
I'm going 3. It's good. It's good, but it's a little dry. Not a ton of sauce.
Yeah, I'm with Will on that one. It's just there's not a lot of sauce in this one, and it's just kind of just 3, honestly.
It's almost like I'm eating just a naked chicken wing.
We got another comment. Drew Haywood, a little late at the show. All I see is three faces full. What is going on? Drew, you're a Columbus guy. We are taste testing wings from around the area. We just had B. Merrill's right here. I'm going to go with a. Let's just go out of 10. Let's speed things up a little bit here because Palmer's getting a little restless.
I think Palmer's just jealous he doesn't have any wings.
I think Palmer's hungry, honestly. I feel that.
I'm going to go with a 6 out of 10 on wings from B. Merrill's. That's what I'm rolling with.
Yep,
Will, where do you sit?
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Ralph, where are you rolling with?
I'm with Will again on this one. 7 out of 10.
All right, got to cleanse
Copy
the
me,
palate.
Ralph. Just
Gotta
copy
Don't
me.
worry. Don't worry. My favorite wing is going to be the best one. So
Which one?
you'll see.
You'll see. All right, I'm going to rotate around my plate of many colors, and I'm going to hit up the LV Barn Grill, okay? Local place just opened.
LV.
Ivy
They
Park.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Hey, LV
The
went out of
Ivy.
business.
Ivy Park. LV Barn Grill. I saw the Ralph's handwriting's not fantastic on these plates.
I wrote sideways. Okay, give me a break.
All right, here's a good look at this wing. You know, it's not a mini one. We're rolling with a nice size wing here. I know that had to sound terrible to the people listening and watching this.
That was good. 6 out of 10.
I'm going 7 out of 10. That was a good sauce and a good amount of chicken on the wing. Ralph, where are you going?
8 out of 10 on that one.
8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Once again, Ivy Park. Go get yourself some wings. We got the menu right here. Let's give a shout out to old Ivy Park here because they donated a nice little menu. They got salads and drinks and whatnot. Yeah, they donated.
Bryce might have took the menu out.
I just took the menu. It's okay. Great spinach and artichoke dip for the health friendly people. Good tilapia, grilled or fried with your choice side or salad.
I almost booed the health friendly people. I probably shouldn't do that.
That's okay.
We might get reported.
We want to thank Margene Waters for watching. We appreciate you watching. Happy belated birthday. And Brian Mouchon as well. We appreciate you watching the show here tonight. And Anna Leary is watching. The Leary family gathering together around the old TV like in the old days.
Hey,
that's where we're going to go.
Right now, Will. Hey, pull
Drew,
it up, Bryce.
Drew, American Deli has the best wings. Listen, you're not wrong. That would have made it in there. We wanted to get that national brand / local places, but Drew, we're definitely going to try those out next time. And speaking, Mr. Clayton Shirley, we appreciate you watching. Country Wings 2 off Double Churches has the best wings. Well, Clayton, it's your lucky day. There you go, buddy. We got some country wings. Now, I will say, Clayton, these are a tad bit smaller in size. They leave a little bit to be desired. Here's Ivy Park. Let's see if we can get this. Yeah, right there. I mean, I don't like that. I also don't like the fact this is not a good generalization of how the wings should look. So let's get right here.
Yeah, very small. Very small.
Holy cow.
What?
Man, that's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
8 out of 10 for country wings. 8 out of 10.
Chicken wing. That's a dang.
8 out of 10.
We may have ourselves a new sponsor. Wow.
I would hope so.
That is a good wing. I'm going 8 out of 10. Ralph, where are you sitting?
9 out of 10 this one.
That's a really, really good wing. All right, the last wing of the night. We've wasted enough of your time. We're going over. Every good place has it. Your local grocery store, Publix. People sleep on Publix wings. Hot and spicy. Not
Never
a bad
had
wing.
one.
You get the bang for your buck.
First Publix wing for me.
And look, that's a good amount of meat. That's a good amount of meat. So here we go.
Yeah, you know Bryce, he likes his meat on the bone. I don't know. Here's my problem with Publix wings. Tastes like rotisserie chicken. Tastes exactly like their rotisserie chicken.
Okay.
And it's not bad. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But it's going to hurt them on their score. 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10.
Yeah. I'll just buy a rotisserie chicken if I want this.
I'm going 6. Only because Country Wings beats it. Clayton, I'm going to get you back up on here, man. They let you get fried rice instead of a drink. 15 wings, fries, and fried rice. There's just no beating it. Ralph and I were in there today. The deals are off the charts. So let's bring it back to them. We're going to go country wings with some of the best wings that we've had here tonight.
Man, not even close.
Yeah. I think we're going to roll with B. Merrill's, maybe 2, or Ivy Park, kind of however you want to roll that. Buffalo
Very
Wings.
close.
Buffalo Wild Wings, dead last for me. And Publix right behind them. And listen, some great wings, some great wing choices. Listen, folks, we're going to head to a quick commercial. When we come back, we're going to have some actual sports talk. We appreciate you being a part of the Wing Challenge. And we're going to finish this off real quick because I'm starving. Still have not eaten. When we come back, here's a message from the best hot dog in town. It's Cook's Hot Dogs.
Cook's Place began serving our signature hot dogs in 1985 from a cart on Broadway. We still serve the best hot dogs and scrambled dogs in town at the corner of Moon and Miller Road and at the landings. Our friendly staff won't let you leave hungry. Come in and eat to the beat with our 50s jukebox. Cook's Place, fast service, great people, awesome food. What are you waiting for?
We are back. Wow.
I would say next we need to do a Columbus hot dog challenge, but we're contractually obligated to not do that. So we'd be a little too biased.
We are contractually obligated. Palmer Thombs. Wow. Woo. Starting to get a little bit of a kick here. That country
Those were
wings, man. That's
remember,
pretty good.
people,
Palmer, you're actually
remember,
muted.
folks,
You're muted.
remember,
You pulled a
folks,
Bryce Coon.
Those are mild wings, and Bryce is complaining about the heat.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, everyone here wants to pull a Bryce Coon. Let's be honest. But it sounds like I got to make it down there to get me some country wings.
Oh yeah,
Man,
That's good. It's a good wing.
This is the first time I've ever had them. They're really good.
And I'll tell you this: you can get 100 wings, Palmer, for $60. Like that's a
Good
steal.
deal.
Throwing yourself
That's
a little
a good
game
deal.
day party. Hey, I don't know when Auburn plays Georgia next. I guess it's going to be in Jordan-Hare this upcoming season. You come on down, you just stroll through Columbus, pick yourself up 100 wings, and head 45 minutes over to Auburn. There you go. So
Sounds like a plan.
sounds
I'll
like
see
a
you
plan.
there.
A great wing challenge. First off, we want to talk a little bit about to Palmer. We're going to talk about baseball. We're going to talk about college basketball as my lips are just searing just a little bit. Just a little bit. And I don't know why. I'm a little bit of a baby when it comes to this kind of stuff. Wanted to get some more comments in before we headed to the next thing. Patsy Lane Leary talking about her favorite. Jackson Gordy. El Jalapenos in Statesboro, Georgia has some of the best wings. El Carrizo in Columbus has good wings as well. And as everyone knows,
What?
El Carrizo does not have wings. It's a Mexican restaurant. So
No,
I'll
they
say
have
one-
wings.
they do have
They
wings.
do have
Let me
wings.
say one thing about Jackson, his El Jalapeno comment.
All right.
This man's been going to El Jalapeno in Statesboro for his whole time he's been in college, and he swears up and down it's the best wings in the world. And in a Mexican restaurant, he goes, I get wings there. And it's the best thing ever. So
Sorry, I took another bite of some wings there. Had to keep it on there for you a second.
Oh,
it's fine. I still have a little wing left.
Anyways,
I'm
wow,
dying.
this show. I'll ask Jackson to. We're going to talk to him a little bit later on, hopefully as well. But Palmer, talk to me about your favorite wing and what's a good wing place in Athens that if we ever travel up there that we got to try out. Good wing and best deal wings.
So I think it's the same thing. I mean, there's not a ton of wing selection here in Athens. It's more of your generic, Wingstop was here for a little bit, but there's not a B-dubs actually. But to me, the best wing in Athens and the best deal is Wednesday nights. You got to head over to 1785 Bar and Grill and get you some 50-cent boneless wings, 75-cent bone-in wings, and I mean it's a great deal. Just doing the math, I'm not much of a math guy, but 50-cent wings, you can get 100 wings for $50.
That's a better deal than what we were talking about over at Country's Wings. Now, I'll ask you this: what qualifies as a wing? Is a boneless wing a chicken nugget, or is it a wing, or as Ralph and I like to call them, saucy nugs?
You bring up a good point. I mean, a really good point here.
Yeah.
That I might have to reconsider going to Wing Wednesday and getting saucy nugs. But yeah, I mean, look, to me, food is food, and it's cheap
There we
food,
go.
50-cent
That's all
wings.
there is there.
especially as a
cares?
college student.
If you like it, just eat it. Who cares?
I'm with you.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I gotta make another little graphic here. Hashtag saucy nugs
Hey,
for the win.
Look! I got my Chick-fil-A cup here. What did the great Truett Cathy say? Food is essential to life, therefore make it good.
Oh,
No, I did not work there. That was Bryce, but
That was
it's
me.
on the walls at every Chick-fil-A.
There you go,
I'm there.
Palmer. Let's get a little conversation going about a little bit of college basketball because they're headed up to Nash Vegas, as many people like to call it. SEC tourney time for everyone but Auburn. I don't know. People call it that. It's SEC tourney time for every single person except for Auburn. So what is the layout? What is the tournament going to look like? Are there fans? How is the media coverage going to be handled? Just give us the lowdown of what to expect this week as we kick it off.
Yeah, it's going to be limited capacity at Bridgestone Arena. In terms of media, it's 3 media personnel per team. I will be here in Athens covering the Dogs virtually, doing press conferences via Zoom and stuff as they take on Missouri Thursday night. Ultimately decided I didn't know if it was worth making the trip up there for one day to likely see Georgia season come to a close. But, it's going to be an interesting tournament. I think, on the court, you've got a lot of teams that have been really competitive all season long. To me, I think Arkansas would be my favorite coming into this tournament, and they're not even the 1 seed. So it's certainly going to be some good basketball played in Nash Vegas.
In Nash Vegas, as the party goers call it. It's okay, Will. You don't like loud restaurants, so we don't expect you to venture into Nash Vegas.
I'm in there to eat,
often.
man.
It's good food.
I like
they
to
got
eat
good
in
food.
peace. Don't need all that racket.
And while we're on the topic of saucy chicken, the Nashville hot chicken, you get that there as well.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, I'll tell you one thing.
There you
I had some good Nashville hot chicken in Birmingham. Not the as you see my dirty napkin here that everyone wants to see, not the famous place that everyone knows, but actually the company that I work for. They have a fantastic. They're in the family. It's a Nashville hot chicken place, born and raised outside of Nashville. So I've tried it for it. Very good. That's a whole other flavor. Ralph, we saw a flavor actually of wings of Nashville hot. So I don't know if we're ever going to try those because I can't even handle the mild when it comes to wings. I do have a comment I want to get to real quick. Spinach and artichoke dip is actually not considered healthy. You're completely right. It's just more to make you feel like it is. But Palmer, going back to a little bit of basketball, when you look and you see obviously teams like Alabama, if Alabama's shooting the ball, no one in the country is going to beat them. I mean, I think it's just kind of the consensus. If they're shooting the ball, playing great defense, it's very, very hard to beat this team. But in the chance they have an off night, we've seen it. I know Ralph, I'm going to ask him who his hot team going to the tournament is. But for you, who's the team that we should watch for, Palmer, heading into Nashville that could maybe surprise? Maybe they're not a 1 or 2 seed, but maybe they could really make some noise and better themselves in the tournament or jump into tournament conversation.
Yeah, I think the team that really needs it is probably Ole Miss. They're probably the SEC team that would be on the bubble. I would feel like Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, LSU, all 4 of those teams, those are the 4 top seeds. I feel like they're pretty all safely in, and I think Florida is as well. I think you're looking at that 6 seed Ole Miss and the 7 seed Missouri as the 2 teams that probably are fighting for their NCAA tournament hopes. I think Missouri probably will be in, but Ole Miss is certainly someone that I think it could be on the outside looking in as of now and needing a couple of wins in Nashville. You look at their route in the SEC tournament, it would go, they'll open Thursday night with South Carolina. That's a team that hasn't had it all this season. The 11 seed going into Nashville and under normal circumstances, the 11 seed would be playing the 14 on opening night. So, Ole Miss draws the lowest seeded, team to get the bye to the second round. Obviously the Rebs have got to be feeling pretty confident there. And then, looking at their next matchup, it would be with LSU. That's a team that has been hot and cold at times this year. You saw Georgia play them well really twice. And I think, but that you've also seen them play the likes of Arkansas and Alabama pretty tight. So, I think Ole Miss is probably the team that's got the most to gain in Nashville.
Nashville's going to provide some fun times. Clayton Shirley with another comment. The best Nashville hot chicken, Hattie B's. Hattie B's a very famous place and a good place to eat. Clayton's got LSU. He's going to say they're going to make some surprise run and maybe pick their game. Maybe Will Wade, the old cowboy. I feel like everyone just loves the memes of him looking like a cowboy and Will Wade. We'll see what he can do. Ralph, you've got a team.
What meme are you talking about?
It's memes.
The only thing I know about Will Wade is FBI has him on tape talking about paying players, and he's still been the head coach at LSU for the last 2 years.
Yeah, there's a certain guy in Georgia who his name's Rush, and he made headlines this week talking about paying players as well. So we may have to talk about that as well. But Ralph, real quick, you've got a team that you love. You think arguably they're the best team right now in the SEC because they're playing so well. Who's that for you, and what could they do in Nashville?
I mean, I think it's the Razorbacks. Like, Arkansas is hot right now, right where they need to be hot. They're 8 games in a row now. Going to the tournament, obviously they're a 2 seed right behind Alabama, who has been a very talented team all year. But I feel like Alabama's starting to slow down their momentum they had beginning of the year. Obviously, they're still a very talented team. When they're shooting lights out, they're unbeatable, I feel like. Arkansas overall, to me, is just a better team. They have a better defense or better offensively, surrounding me. If Alabama can't shoot a 3, they're not going to, score, not going to, blow you out like it had been all year, it seems. But if you watch Alabama against Georgia the other night, they struggled a little bit early on with a 3-point and then kind of came on in the second half and ended up winning that game. So I really do feel like Arkansas got the best chance to win the tournament, and they're my favorite.
It's going to be fun to watch, Ralph, and I think you hit the nail on the head with Arkansas. They're playing their best basketball when it matters. We've talked about other teams across the SEC. Will, for you, I mean, is it one of the teams already mentioned, or who's somebody? I loved what he said. Both of them said Arkansas and Ole Miss. Ole Miss has a ton to play for, but for you, who's a team that could make some noise, and if they're consistent, make a deep run in this tournament?
Yeah, I really like Arkansas. They're the number 2 seed. They're right behind Alabama, but like Ralph said, they're hot at the right time. I think I've said it all year. My biggest worry about Alabama was, have they peaked too early? And I thought they were going to slip up against Auburn the next time they play them, but they obviously didn't. So looks like Alabama is still either riding their high or they're just that good. I mean, it's strange to see a team like them who normally does not have this strong a basketball program playing so well. But I want to touch on Missouri. Missouri has just been such a strange team. I think if they were preseason top 10 or early in the year, they were in the top 10 in the country, and they lose a couple games that they shouldn't have lost, and just got behind the 8 ball a lot, even losing to Auburn about a month ago early in SEC play, which was a big surprise to me. So Missouri, they're weird, but man, if they get hot, they win their first couple games, I definitely think they can go all the way to the finals.
It's going to be fun to watch this tournament, no doubt. Some comments. Jackson Gordy, he agrees with Ralph and Will fully on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Clayton Shirley, if Auburn were to play the tournament, we'd win it all, but it's neither here nor there. Gotta love it, Clayton. Clayton, that's no doubt.
Hey,
and Auburn is a team that could get – Sharif would be healthy. Some other conference some other comments we got here. Brian Mouchon coming up with the best conference championship games will be the tournament should be in the Big Ten. You could have some previews in the tournament, possibly Final Four implications. And the SEC is just not as strong as it is in here. It's not as, I would say, from top to bottom strong. There's been some teams struggling, obviously, with the absence of Kentucky. But the Big Ten is going to be a fun tournament to watch. Obviously, with how Michigan State really caught fire late in the season and have maybe played their way into a bid.
We bring up Big Ten basketball. Sorry, Ralph. We got to say it.
Sorry, Ralph.
Ralph said the Big Ten was not a good basketball conference. I hate to do it to you, Ralph. I hate to.
Old takes exposed. Josh Brown, though, to make you feel better, Josh Brown comes with a comment. Is Ralph a low-key sports genius? That is up to be determined for Josh Brown. So we appreciate you watching as well. And everyone, make sure to like, share as we are here on the Crowded Booth Live. Palmer, back to you on this conversation because a team for me, and I just want to get the consensus of the whole group. If they're playing very well and they're playing consistent, I don't know if anyone really wants to play them, and that's Tennessee. Because if Tennessee's playing at the top of their game, they're going to be really hard to beat. But if they're playing this kind of what seems like a lackadaisical Jekyll and Hyde type thing, it's going to be one of those things where they could lose in the first round of the SEC tournament. I mean, it's just really weird how that team. What have you seen from Tennessee and Palmer that's maybe led to you? This is a team. If they're hot, they're hot. If they're not, they're not.
No, and that's absolutely another team that I thought about mentioning there along with Ole Miss. You look at Tennessee's draw, and there's a good chance that they'll be seeing Florida in that 4-5 game on Friday afternoon. And that's a rematch of a game that was played, just a couple days ago on Sunday. Tennessee needed a big second half to come back and win that. Like you said, that when they're hot, and when they're not, they're not. You look at that first half against Florida, the second half against Georgia. Those are the two Tennessee games that I've seen the most of this year. But I think Tennessee is a team that, like you said, if they're hot, nobody's going to want to play them. They played Alabama early on in the SEC season. That was kind of in Alabama's coming out party, and I think Tennessee will be eager to see a rematch of that game. It's a veteran-loaded team, and I think the Volunteers certainly can make some noise. But one thing I do want to clarify here, Bryce asked me for someone that was not a 1 or 2 seed. If you had to ask me my pick to win the tournament, it'd be Arkansas.
There you go. Yeah, I kind of led in that. I think Arkansas is a trendy pick. Clayton Shirley, another one. Bruce Pearl's son, Rick Barnes.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
We may have found ourselves one of those advantageous Auburn fans that watches the show, and you got to love it.
Tennessee makes no sense. They make no sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to Auburn. Makes no sense. Auburn has been probably the most up and down team all year. They haven't been very good. They played probably the worst game of basketball I've ever seen anybody play the first time they played Florida in Gainesville. I didn't even have words for how bad they played. I still don't have words for how bad they played. I've never seen anybody play that poorly.
You must not have watched much Georgia basketball this year.
No, I did not. I did watch them beat Auburn, though. I did watch them beat Auburn. But I agree with y'all. If Tennessee gets hot, I mean, they play well together. When they play well together, they feed off one another like all good teams do. But Tennessee especially, man, they're not the best on paper, but when they're playing well, they can beat anybody.
Yeah, they can beat anybody, and when they're, like you said, when they're playing well, everything's seeming to gel. They're one of the toughest teams in the conference and maybe in the country to beat. But it's right now it's survive and advance, especially in the SEC tournament. In the NCAA tournament, can you put it together game after game? And we've seen teams who have all this high momentum riding, just kind of like Alabama, guys, honestly. If Alabama has one off game and say in the round of 64, they're out. It doesn't matter how well they played all season. So I think that's what you got to love about college basketball. Let's flip over to the diamond real quick. College baseball has been taking the storm of ESPN hotlines or ESPN headlines and everything. And right now, guys, the SEC is dominating. Ralph, throw me out the tidbit because D1 baseball came out with their polls and polls across the country, and the SEC is dominating at that top half.
I mean, yeah, if you haven't been paying attention to, college baseball this year, you didn't realize that the top 5 teams in the country right now are Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Florida. So once again, the SEC is dominating another sport. If you're shocked by that, I don't know where you've been. The SEC is loaded in this year in baseball. I mean, even Auburn's not doing horrible. I mean, they're doing pretty good. We're not talking about this weekend.
Oh,
I'm not going to hurt Will like that. I'm not
hold on now.
I'm not going to hurt you, Will.
You give me the floor to talk about that.
But yeah, I mean, if you look at, I think we've talked about it before. Vanderbilt's got the best 1-2 punching pitchers in baseball with Kumar Rocker and Jack Light are both. They're both talented players, both future first round picks next year. Actually, this year more than likely. Ole Miss, who's just got an all around great team. I mean, they're just play very well together. They look like they just want to go out and beat you senseless. Honestly, they're so fired up every game. It terrifies the other team if you're not prepared for it, especially if you go to a game in Ole Miss and you hit if they hit a home run, it's going to get a little sticky, if you know what I mean. But yeah.
Oh, God. Now we're getting reported.
You don't want to mean shout out to my sister because she goes to Ole Miss and the beer shower they have.
Yeah, the SEC baseball has taken a step up. We always knew about the Vandy boys, but over in Athens, Palmer, Georgia is still sitting on the outside looking into the rankings. It's still a team that, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're not ranked in the top 25 according to most polls, correct?
Well, so that's the interesting thing here is
and there's like 75 different polls, I should say.
There's a ton of different polls, and Georgia's ranked as high as number 7 in the country, but D1Baseball.com does not have them ranked right now. It's a team that's leading Georgia Southern as we speak, 5-1 in the 8th. That's a good program down there in Statesboro. with the Dogs playing down there tonight. They'll return home this weekend and play Lipscomb, assuming that the Bison can overcome some COVID problems that they've had up in Nashville. But Georgia's a talented team, and I think one of the aspects that is being overlooked with the Bulldogs is their pitching. And obviously the big question for Georgia coming into the year was replacing Emerson Hancock and Cole Wilcox, and who would be able to do that. And that was the number 6 overall draft pick in Hancock, and a guy who could have been a first rounder in Wilcox ended up slipping a little bit in the draft, but certainly had first round talent, and he went as a draft eligible sophomore. Had he been around for 3 years, like most college baseball players, he probably would have been a top 10 pick. And I think what's being forgotten with Georgia is in replacing those two guys, they're doing it so with Jonathan Cannon, who's a preseason All-American, and Ryan Webb, who was a preseason All-American. Now, both those guys missed the opening weekend, and Cannon actually made his debut tonight through 28 pitches in 2 innings, allowed just 2 hits and no runs against the Eagles down there in Statesboro. But he was coming back from mono. Ryan Webb he had tested positive for COVID-19, so he had to be worked back. Georgia's taking their time with both those guys, and I think that's kind of where the discrepancy on the Bulldogs is coming from, is you really haven't seen their ace pitcher or really their number 2. Neither of those guys has been at 100%. They're still working on a pitch count, and Georgia's been really, really banged up so far this season. They've played 4 guys at shortstop after they played 1 for the last 4 years in Cam Shepard. They've struggled in the middle infield with some injuries. They've got tons and tons of talented freshmen. Georgia's a team that's going to be interesting. And, while they're not ranked right now in a lot of polls, they are in some. And, I think we'll figure out a lot about the Bulldogs here in a couple of weeks when they get into SEC play, because they take on Arkansas, they take on Vanderbilt, they take on Ole Miss, and they take on Florida. That is 4 of the top 5 teams in the country right there.
Yeah, it's a gauntlet for Georgia. But like you said, you earn the respect. You get some healthy guys back, and it's going to be fantastic. Go into some comments as well. Clayton Sherry, Kumar Rocker, the son of former Auburn legend and also known Auburn hater, Tracy Rocker, and then Jackson Gordy, hail Southern and no place else. Want to point out quickly, because this is something that happened on the show the other day. And so I'm going to take Ralph and Will and I off real quick. So see you, Will. We'll be seeing in a second. And then I'm going to take myself off because I wanted everyone to get a good look at these two guys, because these two were mistaken to be twins. So let's just have a quick little screenshot. If you want to screen grab this, here you go. Here's an awkward moment for
Oh, man. He just cut himself off. Yeah. And we have a group message, Palmer, if you don't know. Yeah, they thought that I was you the other night when I was in Daytona. So they kept asking me where I was, and I said I'm not on the show. They said, "Well, you're actually on the show," and they thought I was you. So I don't know if you take that as offensively. I'm sorry.
I take that as a compliment. I take that as a compliment over
that. Thank you.
We should all be aspiring to look like Ralph.
Oh, don't say that now.
Oh my gosh. Really, I just did that so I can take another bite of wings. I still haven't finished mine, but Clay, we appreciate you as well. We talk about college baseball, guys. So I'm going to take a little bit of the highway over. I'm going to hit Atlanta, and then I'm going to take 85 down to the Plains, where Auburn came in with high hopes. Obviously, still a very good program, but they blew a tough lead. Not only for the psyche of the team to blow a 9-1 lead with 2 outs in the 9th inning, but just talk about this team aside from that. What does this Auburn team have going for them, and kind of where they maybe could hit their ceiling somewhere this season?
Well, if you follow me on Twitter and have seen my tweets about Auburn baseball, I've staken the claim, and I'm going to keep riding this claim until I'm proven otherwise. Auburn has the best offense in the country. They score runs in bunches. Just about every game they've played, they've scored over 5 runs, and they've played a pretty tough non-conference schedule. They played Presbyterian, pretty good mid-major, lower tier school, but still pretty good. They played in the Round Rock Classic against Oklahoma, Baylor, and Texas A&M, and they're taking on UAB tonight. They have an early 1-0 lead through 3 innings. But the issue's been the pitching. The pitching has just been up and down. The 2 big returning names that are healthy, Cody Greenhill, the former closer, making the move to the rotation, started out as the Friday starter, which if you follow college baseball, you know that's normally your number 1. He's kind of struggled. He didn't get a start last weekend against Boston College. And then the guy behind him, the number 2, Richard Fitz, hasn't been too good either. And the bullpen has been shaky. Camden Hill was the guy that started that 8-run ninth inning for Boston College on Sunday. Just a killer into a weekend. Would have been a big series win against a ranked opponent in Boston College. But it's a long season. I think Auburn will figure it out. They're well coached. Butch Thompson's really brought Auburn a long way from when he got there, and including that trip to Omaha a few years ago. They got a long way to go. They got a lot of young pitchers. Hopefully their true number one, who's slated to come back here probably in about a week or two, Jack Owen, the left-handed pitcher, can help right the ship for this pitching staff. And it'll be big tonight for Auburn to get a win against UAB, who's one of the top Conference USA teams in state as well. They got an early lead tonight. Hopefully they can hold on to it.
Yeah, the Blazers and the Tigers playing at beautiful Regions Field in downtown Birmingham. I'm going to head back up 85. I'm going to brag on this because Ralph and Will give me, they give me a little grief for this. And Palmer decided to join in on the fun with a little bit of a DM earlier this week. So, and I want to note, Auburn they are sitting at number 7 in the country in batting average, or number 9 in the country in batting average with 338. And if you look at the teams ahead of them, those teams in the level of competition does not match to what Auburn's played this year. So it really speaks volumes.
They can swing the stick. Watch out for Stephen Williams and Rankin Woley, if I can speak, in the middle of that lineup. And, the local guy, I'm giving a shout out to Ryan Bliss, former Troup County Tiger. Correct? Yeah, yes. Troup County Tiger. He's showing some pop too. Hit a leadoff home run Saturday, I think.
And hey, while we're still in the SEC, a team that we haven't mentioned here is South Carolina, who's 10-0 so far this season. And I mean, I think they've got, quite possibly the best hitter in the country in Wes Clark. He had 8 home runs in the first 6-7 games. They swept Clemson. He hit 3 against Winthrop, 2 against Clemson. That is a really good South Carolina team that Georgia's got coming down the road. I don't know if Auburn's got them, but that is a really good South Carolina team. And to be 10-0, and I guess another 10-0 team that we haven't mentioned, number 1 team in the country, Arkansas. To be 10-0 and to play the level of competition that those two teams are playing. Arkansas went and played in Dallas against TCU, Texas, and Texas Tech. Those were 3 top 10 teams at the time, and South Carolina took on Clemson, who was a top 25 team at the time. The Gamecocks are certainly a team that I would watch out for.
Yeah, there's a ton of talent.
We all know baseball is a really funny game, a true game of inches. So anybody can win on any given day. I'd be impressed with a 10-0 start of the season, no matter who they played. They could have played a bunch of high school teams. I'd have been impressed if they were 10-0.
Yeah, baseball is one of those games, like you said, Will. It's really, we even saw it. Georgia State took 1 game from Vanderbilt, and then obviously Vanderbilt just thrashed them the next 2 games. But it's just one of those games where you just drop a game, and kudos to those teams who haven't done that, like a South Carolina sitting at 10-0. I don't care who you're playing against. That's impressive. I'm going to head back up to Atlanta real quick because the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets have really impressed baseball. They got some of the best uniforms in college baseball as well. That's where Palmer got me. He said, hey, that Sunday gold's phenomenal. But really, when you look, they probably have arguably the best freshman in the country, and Kevin Parada. He's a catcher. He was the 4 recruit in his class. The 3 guys ahead of him were drafted, and so he's the highest ranking catcher from that class and everything. So it's, they got they have some good baseball in the Southeast. Georgia Tech, Clemson, these programs, Florida State, they're not in the SEC, but when you just come to the Southeast and you look what baseball does here, it's absolutely phenomenal. So I'll get you Miami, another one of those. So the Southeast just dominates in the sport of baseball. We're going to take another commercial break. Palmer, we appreciate you joining. I think you're going to hang out backstage with us for a little bit and maybe get some good conversation with us after the show. But we appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. Always happy to come on and talk with y'all.
Talking with you. We have to get you some wings next time. That's for sure. We'll be back here in about 30 seconds. back here on the Crowded Booth Live. It's a Tuesday evening, 46 minutes past the 7 o'clock hour, 15 until 8, if you do the math correctly. Guys, I want to talk a little bit about what is happening on the golf course. There's some conversation, and I thought it was good to talk about because, hey, we haven't really talked about this sport all that much, and I think it is. So, obviously, one of the biggest names in golf right now is this man right here. Will, you love this guy, and go ahead and talk about who this is. And give me
I'm a big Bryson DeChambeau fan. He's been on the PGA Tour for, I think this is his 5th year as a professional, maybe his 4th year. But the dude is changing the game. He's doing it his own way, totally different from everybody else. I mean, Google him. Look at Bryson DeChambeau 2017. And then Bryson DeChambeau 2021, and you'll be doing double takes, making sure you're looking at the same guy. Bryce, while you got me on full screen, you might want to pull that up just so the people understand what I'm talking about. But Bryson DeChambeau is lifting more weight than any other golfer I think ever has, and the dude is absolutely jacked and hits a golf ball further than everybody else on tour. I mean, this weekend at the Arnold Palmer Invitational Tournament that he won down at Bay Hill, down in South Florida. Hit a drive 377 yards. 377 yards. It was a par 5. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. That is the same person on both sides. Guys. Bryson DeChambeau, he's got this insane workout and meal plan. He drinks like 12 protein shakes a day. He won the U.S. Open last year and said, I think it was either his 2nd or 3rd round. He was near the top, and they asked when he was coming off what he was going to do to prep for the final round, the final 2 rounds. He said, well, I'm probably going to go hit a range session, and then I'm going to go home and eat a steak and go to bed. I mean, that's just how he put it. And that was after playing a full round of golf. He was going to go hit at the range. But he's very unique. He's a quirky personality. A lot of people don't like him because he's not your typical golfer. And his game is a little quirky as well. There's certain courses that he's going to play well and dominate, like the U.S. Open at Winged Foot last year. A hard course, you got to be a long hitter. You got to be able to hit the ball hard because they got really thick rough at Winged Foot. And he was able to dominate. Posted the lowest score, really big margin of victory. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head, but really big, especially for a major. And then of course, like Bay Hill, that suits longer hitters as well. He goes out and gets a win. But I'm a big Bryson DeChambeau fan.
I'll say this, and I want to give way to Ralph on this, because too, when you have Ralph, actually, I'm going to let you roll with this first. What are your thoughts on DeChambeau? Is it good for the game of golf or no?
I think it is good for the game of golf. I mean, you got someone who's a little bit more different, and something that's not normal. And a lot of people are like, that's not what we want to see. We want to see the same thing as golf. Golf should be the same at all times. I know I have a lot of friends and family and who are indifferent about his swing because it is a more of a scientific kind of swing. If you don't know what I mean, he went and did a lot of testing on his swing, how far he can see how he can hit further. He's a little more different, But if you watch this past weekend when he hit that drive off tee box, hit it 377 across the lake to put himself closer to the green than anyone else has all weekend. The reaction by the fan base, the fans we got to see on the course with them, the reaction was awesome. And that's what I like about him. He's bringing more to the game. People are going to watch him hit that ball as hard as he can, as far as he can, because, gosh, I love a long drive. The further the drive, it's more exciting to me to watch because that guy has a better chance to eagle or maybe put himself in the lead. And it's awesome to see that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's good to see. We got 2 comments here I want to get to before I talk. Jackson, it will be interesting to see how his swing ages with him, with his swing being side by side. That's a very good point. Will he have to change that as he gets older? Right now, it works for him at that age he's at. And Stephen, if he wins, I'm at a more shorter, more technical course. I'll be on the Bryson train. Listen, I'll say this: the game of baseball and the game of golf. I was talking with a great friend of mine 2 days ago. Or yesterday afternoon, and he is a former collegiate golfer and is actually playing at the lower levels now professionally. And he told me this: as a golf fan, if you don't want to see people get excited about it, Bryson DeChambeau makes people excited about the game of golf. If you want to grow it, you've got to have someone that can do that. That's not a knock on the the other fantastic golfers we've seen. But Tiger Woods did that. Tiger Woods got people excited about it when he broke in. Bryson DeChambeau's doing the same thing. I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying their mark on the game could be somewhat of the same magnitude because they're getting people excited. They're growing the game a ton, and I think it's crazy. So I think you have to be. If you're not analytically driven, that's okay. If you're not into that, that's fine. But I think as a golf fan, if you're, an old-time golf fan, you got to be willing to adapt a little bit because he's growing the game, whether you like it or not, and bringing more attention to it. Parlays into a fantastic question that I asked my friend as well. What do you think about some of the changes? Obviously, with the regulations on ball size, how far it will travel. We've seen that conversation happen in baseball. And Rory McIlroy gets on national television, Barstool Sports' podcast and talks about how that's damaging the game. And essentially that's a BS move. We shouldn't be doing that because why would you want to make it harder for guys to hit the ball further? People like that. And so I know we're old school, and I know we say some things about baseball. Oh, we want this. And even you, Will, you're more of an old school kind of guy. But when you can bring more attention to the sport, and let's be honest, and just fact of the matter, golf is a sport that is available to a limited few. It is. It's one of those sports at a younger age. It's almost a pay-to-play type of thing. Same way baseball has become, in my opinion, a pay-to-play type of format. You have sports such as football, basketball. What does a kid in inner-city Atlanta need? He just needs a basketball, and I guarantee you there's a hoop somewhere nearby. He needs a football and about, half an acre worth of grass, and he's going to be fine. For golf, all the equipment. For baseball, all the equipment. And we've had great conversations with people, and they said the game needs to be more accessible. How can it be more accessible? If it's more exciting and more people are going to watch it. So you may not be a fan of DeChambeau and his attitude towards the game. That's completely fine. But what he's doing and showing a different angle of how the game can be played, to me, is a good thing because it grows the game of golf and more people are interested in it. Your thoughts?
Totally agree. Bryson DeChambeau is good for the game of golf. As weird as infuriating as he can be, because he kind of comes off as a jerk because he's like, look how smart I am. I learned how to hit the ball further than everybody else, and that's going to make the game easier for me. And a lot of people, that's a turnoff to a lot of people. But I'll make the argument that it also makes the game harder for him because you hit your drive further. You gotta be good with those short irons. You gotta be good with your wedges, and that's the technical aspect of the game that is extremely hard. Like me being the terrible golfer I am, I have no short game, so it does me no good being able to hit a ball 380 yards like Bryson DeChambeau because I'm not going to gain anything from it. And I think the thought of him is the people that don't follow golf or don't really know is that he's just this big brute that hits the ball further than all it, like Bryson smash, like Hulk smash. That's all they think about with him. No, this dude, his nickname has become the mad scientist because that's what he is. He's studying all the numbers, all the angles, trying to get any advantage he can mathematically. I mean, he used to go out there when he kind of first started all this. He would go out there with a protractor on the green to try to figure out the angles on the greens. It's weird, it's quirky, but it makes golf more fun, which golf is, if you don't play it, it's boring. Everybody tells me golf is boring, but he's bringing excitement to it, and that's what the game needs.
We have a comment already from the guy who was just on the show, Palmer Thombs. He's not a big fan of him, so we'll have to hear about what he thinks about him after the show. And I think and he just said he's a traditionalist, and that makes complete sense. I get that. It's just I think from a person who's not as invested into the game of golf as myself, if I'm just a casual follower, you're going to be more attracted to that. And then I guess but those people who are entrenched in the traditional side of it makes sense.
The traditionalist, I don't really understand their argument against him because there's been a ton of golfers the last 20 years that have kind of started this whole long drive, hit it 300-plus yard deal. Like Tiger Woods kind of started all that. He was kind of the first golfer to hit it over 300 yards consistently. As the way we study sports now in the modern age, I think Jack Nicklaus probably could hit a golf ball 300 yards in his prime, but people didn't analyze and study the game like they do now. So like Tiger Woods hitting the ball 300-plus yards, Bubba Watson hitting it 300-plus yards with this pink driver hitting this massive hook that nobody else hits. Nobody says a word about that. I think it's a lot of really DeChambeau's stance and his attitude that people don't like about him, which I totally understand because he's pretty arrogant about it. But it's worked for him. He's won a major tournament.
He's won a major tournament. He is successful, and I think a lot of the thing is it may be that attitude, which I don't have a problem with. I'm in the camp of I'm like in baseball. If you hit a home run off a guy and you hit it into the Allegheny at Pittsburgh and you want a bat flip, do it. Just strike me out next time. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's one of those things. And don't show the guy up, but we have some comments. Jackson Gordy, bring back Ricky Fowler being the face of golf. He was cooler than Bryson, and the dude rides bikes.
Dirt bikes.
Ricky Fowler needs to learn, to quote Joe Madden, he needs to try not to suck. He needs to have a really good weekend or he's going to miss the Masters. That's how far Ricky Fowler has fallen off.
Yeah, it's a little weird. We're going to go into our final thoughts here quickly as we wrap up tonight's show. Final thoughts. Les Miles is out at Kansas due to allegations of, type of sexual type of misconduct or whatever there. And guys, I don't want to get into that, but more of where does Kansas go from here? Because the Jayhawks brought in a guy that could have infused some enthusiasm and some energy into the program. I'll give him the pass on this year too, because it was weird. You didn't get the full recruiting cycle. You got all this weird stuff with COVID. But guys, what does this say about Les Miles and his legacy? And what does this say about Kansas and how they go forward? Ralph, I'll start with you.
Well, honestly, him being at Kansas was, didn't get it started at all. I mean, honestly, a year and a half. He didn't even coach for many of the games this past year anyway. Him being at Kansas, lost to Coastal Carolina at the beginning of the year. I mean, that just looked horrible for them in the first place. But then you saw Coastal Carolina go undefeated the rest of the year. So that loss wasn't awful, but, they didn't win a game, I don't think. And, if we're talking about what he did in the past, we can bring this conversation up every time. There's always going to be someone that someone's going to find something bad about you, I think George Speed had something a long time ago where he tweeted out something when he was like a freshman or sophomore, his sophomore year at college, and it came out, and he apologized for it, but he was like, "I'm young, I make stupid mistakes." I mean, obviously, what he did was wrong. If he did do it, I'm not gonna get into that conversation. But if Kansas wants to move on from this, they need to find a coach who can build this program out. You're in a rebuild situation for Kansas. You don't bring much to the table for football, honestly. Mm-hmm. You're not a place where I want to go if I'm a high school recruit who's got a lot of Power 5 offers. Kansas is not my number one landing spot. So you need to bring someone in who can recruit well and bring an atmosphere changer on it. You need a full rebuild in that system.
Yeah, they need a full rebuild, a type of overhaul. The early thing was say, hey, what about Paul Johnson? Does he want to head out to Kansas and run the triple option? Will, your thoughts on this? What is the Les Miles that we knew at LSU, eating the grass and this energetic guy, kind of the Joker type of guy? He was going to go for it. He was an aggressive coach. What does it leave your lasting impression on him? Does it affect it at all, or how do you feel about this?
I mean, not really. Just speaking about his time at Kansas. He's leaving this program in a much better spot than he found it. There's been a lot of lazy takes out there that, he's got less wins than Charlie Weiss and Turner Gill and another coach that came before him. I can't even think of who it was. But those are national writers that don't pay attention to Kansas. And I've seen a lot of Kansas, people that cover Kansas talking about, how good of a job he was doing. The recruiting class were getting better. They were making great inroads in recruiting, and they were even talking to coaches from other schools saying, yeah, if Les could have stayed at Kansas, they would have been a real player. They would have been really plucking some players that we normally get. So, the lazy take's going to be there, that he was a disaster, he was a failure, which is just not true. He was bringing excitement. Year 2 was a really good year in terms for Kansas. And then 2020 happened, and that kind of derailed everything. And this happens, and it just derails everything. So, it's probably the end for Les Miles, especially with these allegations, like Ross said, whether true or not, we won't get into. But it's going to be a little disappointing not to see the Mad Hatter on the sideline anymore.
That was his nickname. I said Joker, but you're right, the Mad Hatter. Les Miles was a fun, exciting coach during his time in the SEC. Some early candidates, one early candidate that I saw was their former offensive coordinator, who's now at Middle Tennessee State, Brent Dearman. So he is potentially a candidate that could go back.
I think he was named the interim. No, that was who's the interim?
Well, Brent Dearman was just named the OC like a month ago at Middle Tennessee State. But they do have an interim
Okay.
coach right now. But it'll be interesting to see how they proceed with that. But, guys, Kansas is definitely a basketball program. We'll see what they have to do. In the meantime, my wings were tasty. I still got some meat on there I got to finish. I've been trying to do it every single time I put it on to y'all. But we appreciate everyone for watching. We got some comments here. Richard Leary, Kansas has good bird hunting, and that's it, and some big deer. I thought we were going to talk about some fishing. Is that in the next episode? It sure is. The MLF is going to be next week when we talk about that as well. We may have some special guests on to talk about that. But for Ralph, for Will, for Palmer, our special guest, and for all the places that we had some wings, guys, who was your number one wing and why? Real quick.
Country wings.
Country wings.
Country wings was good. Country wings
Just
was
not
definitely,
even close. Head and
definitely good. Hey, remember, Mailbag Monday. Send your questions into the crowded booth at gmail.com. I have not posted it in 2 weeks, and that's because I've forgotten. And also, my internet, you might be able to tell. Ralph, you were going to shout out the internet connection.
Here come the excuses.
Oh, yeah.
Here come the
Give a
excuses.
shout. Yeah, let's
Instagram
just
moment.
burn down Nomad Internet, please. That place is probably
That's
the
arson.
biggest- well, sorry. There's not even a building forum, honestly. It's probably just an online, gaming channel for them, honestly. They're a joke, honestly. Listening to Bryce talk about how bad his internet Sunday night was hilarious on one part, but then you feel bad because you're listening to it, you're like, that's just illegal, it feels like. It's just wrong. It's not right. And so if Nomad ever sees anything like this, I want you to know, if you ever think about getting Nomad internet, please rethink your life, because you're going to be getting yourself into a loophole where you pay more money every day.
That's going to be terrible. Will has eating the wings, and this has been a fantastic show. It's been a good show. We thank you for tuning in. The Crowded Booth here live Tuesday. Now we'll be back on Thursday with a little bit of good content for you. Make sure to follow us over on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at The Crowded Booth. So long, farewell, and go pick yourselves up some country wings. 2 locations to pick those up in Columbus. We appreciate everyone watching.